Hello, friends. Mary here with Boom Was Blooming. How are you all today? I was just sitting here thinking because it's a quiet day. And I was just sitting here thinking. I had a conversation last night with an old friend. And most of the conversation was about the past. Reminiscing about the past, talking about the past, talking about the mistakes of the past, and some of the joys and happiness of the past, going all the way back to mother and father and siblings. And so I just listened. I just listened because I do that sometimes myself. I probably repeat myself a lot, and I probably talk about the past a lot. So I'm guilty of that too. But here's the thing. I have a lot of friends that are my age, a little bit younger, a little bit older. The conversation is more so about the past. And we talk about how it used to be. And I even get this from family, older family members and older friends, how we talk about how it used to be, the past, the good old days, the things we used to do, and even, like I said, some of the mistakes we made that we wish we could go back and correct. And like I said, I do this myself. We repeat a lot of stuff. We repeat a lot of the events, a lot of chapters in our life. There are chapters in our life that we talk about over and over sometimes. And I do that too. But I was just wondering, I had this conversation last night, and this person did that, and I think I was on the phone with them maybe about 40 minutes. And most of it was how they used to be, what they used to do. And I thought, I've heard this before, but maybe I just need to be quiet and hear it again. Because evidently it's feeling some need within this person to talk about it like this, even though they talked about the same thing. I think we as older people just do this. I don't know if it's because we don't have a lot going on, some of us in our lives. Well, we certainly don't have as much going on as when we were in our 20s and 30s, 40s and 50s, and sometimes 60s, because life changes. So I think sometimes we do this. And I think it's important to listen, because they have to listen to me too. Because you know what, friends, sometimes it feels like you're in a world that's spinning and spinning, and it's going on and it's going on, and things are happening and changing. But you feel like you're on the outside looking in. You feel like you're no longer a part of it. So sometimes I think we don't build a lot of new memories. Is what I think some of this is. We don't have a lot of present memories that we talk about. So we talk about how it used to be. And we talk about the people in our lives back then. And it brings us, I think some of us, it brings us comfort to go back, to reminisce about how it used to be. And so I was just wondering though, why do we do that? Young people have a lot going on in their lives, and so maybe they have a lot to talk about. When I was coming up, I used to hear my mom and her friends, and they talk like this, like I'm telling you, a lot about the past. And of course, the medications they were on, the conditions, physical conditions they had. And I used to think to myself, can they ever talk about anything else besides doctor's appointments, medications, and all of it in the good old days? Older I get, the more I understand things and the more I understand why people are the way they are, why they say the things they say. Because I think since most of us have lived the majority of our life, it is that majority of our life that we speak about, that we talk about, that we share with others about. And I think that happens too because we slow down. Sometimes we feel like we're on a merry-go-round and it's just going around and around, and you don't get off because you don't have a destination to get off to. You just continue on the merry-go-round because you don't have a destination to get off to or for. I think sometimes as we age, we get, when it comes to a destination and where we're going, we don't know. And I think that affects us more so than young people. You know, you see a lot of change in the world. Some of it you recognize and some of it you don't, and some of it you don't even feel a part of anymore. And so it makes you feel like you're on the outside looking in to life sometimes. Now these are feelings and thoughts that I have had too. But I try to not dwell on it. I guess I'm just speaking to someone right now, or I'm trying to speak to someone right now that may understand what I'm trying to say. That maybe I can encourage and let you know you're not alone. So if the world is spinning for you and you feel like on the outside looking in and you're no longer a part of it, you're not alone. But now that doesn't mean you're insignificant or unimportant anymore. Or it doesn't mean you're insignificant or unimportant. Because you still are. And because so much of the world is what we don't recognize anymore, what people do and what people say, and just all kinds of stuff, because we come from a time when life was more simple. And so since we are older and retired, a lot of us, and a lot of us are alone, we don't make a lot of new memories. And so most of the memories are from the past. And I think that's really what I'm trying to say. That's why older people talk about the past so much. Because just about every person I know that is my age or older, most of the conversation is about the past. And maybe because there's not a lot to talk about as far as the new memories. Maybe that's part of it. What do you think? It's kind of hard for me to pinpoint it, why we do that. Because when I talk to friends about my past, how it used to be when my mom was alive, my siblings were alive, it invokes in me sometimes a little sadness, but also it makes me feel at times as if I'm just looking out and I'm no longer in that circle. I'm just looking at the world spin around and around and around. and I'm not a part of it, or I'm not in it, or I'm just a bystander. I'm a bystander. I don't think these thoughts are bad. I really don't. I think what we have to do is realize that we're not the only ones who feel this way and think this way sometimes. And you know, there's an old saying, and it goes something like this: there's nothing new under the sun. Okay? And so the way we feel is not really new. Our moms probably felt like that at some point. Our grandparents probably felt like that at some point. And guess what? The young people, if they keep living, they will probably, some of them, feel the same way at some point in their life. But being on the outside, looking at the activity of the world and the world spinning and recognizing some things and some things we're not recognizing, it does not, what's that word I want to say? It does not take away from you. It does not define who you are. It's just called change. It's called change. Things changed. They change, don't they? And sometimes it can be an accepted change, and sometimes it can be an unaccepted change. Sometimes it can be a little painful, and sometimes it can be, what is that word I want to say? Sometimes it can be fulfilling too. It all depends on how we accept the change. So even though at times I feel like I'm on a merry-go-round or a journey that no longer has a destination that I can call or see or feel. Feel is a good word. No longer have a destination that I can feel now. It's all right. It's all right. Because I know in my feeling this way, I am not alone. And neither are you. So what do? Well, if you want to keep talking about the past and the good old times and it's making you feel good, just go right on. And hopefully you're talking to someone who understands. Because we can be repetitious, we can repeat, and we can tell the same life stories over and over and over. Because just maybe we're not making any new ones to talk about. So you talk about what you have, and you talk about what you know. So I was talking to this friend last night, and they went all the way back to the mother, the father, the siblings, the jobs they had, the marriages, the people who died. And I've heard it before, like I said, from the same person. But I probably do that myself. I'm sure I do. I'm really sure I do. So I think it's important that we understand that and don't shy away from older people because they do that. We shouldn't shy away because one day you may be that way. And we shouldn't shy away because you're not making a lot of new memories, but you got so many old memories, so many stories. So that's what you do. You talk about them. Talk about the sad times, the good times, the times you did all of these things. And Sometimes it makes me feel better, especially when I'm talking to people that I've been raised with, people who understand, people who went through some of the things that I went through. So, even though we may feel like we're on a carousel or a road with no destination, we do have a destination. You just might not feel it right now. We all have destinations. And I know I'm rambling a little bit because it's kind of hard for me to put this into words. You know, sometimes feelings can be hard to put into words. They can be very hard. You struggle to say, this is how I'm feeling, and I'm trying to put it into words. So we as seniors, as boomers, as older people, repeat a lot. We talk a lot about the past. Because like I say, I have people in my family, and most of the conversation is about the past. It's not about today. And sometimes I myself want to get busy, and you know, sometimes myself, I need to be doing things. I put it like that. The things I need to be doing, but I'll take time to listen to their life story over and over and over. Because, you know, it's important to them. Excuse me. And I'm just like you. I probably do the same thing. My friends would probably say, Mary, tell the same stories over and over and over and over. And I'm sure I do. And they listen. Because I have some younger friends, you know, and we talk, and some of the same stuff I say over and over. Because those are memories. They're things that you can reach out to and feel comfortable in. So I said to myself, after being on the phone last night for 45 minutes with this friend, and they went way back, and they told me all the stuff they told me so many times. I'm not going to say, well, you know, you told me that. No, I'm not going to say that. I'm not going to try to rush them off the phone because I'm thinking, boy, I have heard this over. No. I'm not going to do that. Because there's a reason for this. There's a cause and effect. While we as older people are this way. You see, we know we've lived most of our lives. There's more behind us than there is in front of us. And that's just life. That's just life. That's just the way it is. And so, we talk about what has been behind us, because there's so much more. So much more. So many stories, so much more than we have or about or are experiencing ahead of us or in the future. I put it like that, in the present. In the present. So why do people, older people, and I'm one of them, talk about and dwell so much in the past? Because it's their stories. It's their stories that they have to offer. However often they offer them, it's their stories that they share. And you know, I was thinking, I have to take time and exercise compassion and understanding as they repeat these stories over and over again. Because one day, guess what? I might not even hear them repeating these stories over and over, because they may be gone. And I may have said, or maybe I will have said to myself, I should have taken time and I should have listened Because boy, would I love to hear those stories now, over and over and over. Do you see what I'm trying to say? Because I know I'm guilty of it. And I know a lot of older people and seniors are guilty of repeating the same life stories over and over. And it's all right. Now, you repeat these stories over and over to these young folk. Most of them, they don't have time. They get agitated because they're young. And they're making their stories. They're making their stories. That one day, like I said, if they live long enough, they'll do the same thing probably to their friends and to their families. I guess it's just the way it is. There's nothing new under the sun. It's all been done before, and it's all been said before. So, I was just feeling this way today. And I'm like, you know what? I'm going to share that with my friend. Because I'm probably not the only one. It's not depression or anything like that. No, that's not what it is. It's just that I was just wondering why we do this. Trying to figure out why I do it. Tell my life stories over and over and over again. Listen to my friends and my family, older members, their story over and over again. Because I guess that's the majority of our memories. And as we slow down, as we age, we don't make as many memories as we used to. You know? We still make memories because we're still here, but we don't make as many. Most of the memories have already been made, pretty much. The majority of them. Not all of them. Not all of them. Because I got many memories to make. I got places to go, things to see, foods to eat. But you know, I was just wondering that because as I was listening to that friend, I'm like, wow. And you know, sometimes when this happens, you can't really bring them back up to date. You know, sometimes I try to interject, well, you know, what's going on in your life? Nothing much. They'll say nothing much. Or they got this saying, same old, same old. Nothing new, same old, same old. Well, what did you do today? Oh, what I normally do, same thing. Oh boy. I say, well, what you do over the weekend? What I always do. Well, what is that? Well, you know what I always do. Yes, I do, because you've told me over and over and over again. Well, Mary, what did you do? Well, you know what I did. The same thing I do every weekend. You know, I've told you over and over and over again, too. You know, it's all good. That's just life. And that's the way it is. So, when people share their stories with me, I try to be compassionate and listen, however many times. Sometimes I don't even interrupt, and they'll talk for 10, 15 minutes. And I'll just say, and let them know I'm still there. Because I feel that's important to them to just talk about it. To just talk about it. To someone that will listen. Maybe to someone that does the same thing, and to someone that will understand. Because I do it too. So, I just wanted to share that. I know, you know, there are a lot of people out there that don't experience this. Because, you know, I told you, I can be a very nostalgic person. And an emotional person. But I have no regrets for that. No regrets whatsoever. Because that's who I am. And I own up to who I am. I don't try to be like other people. I don't pattern myself. I try not to pattern myself or measure myself by somebody else. I try to be Mary, just who I am, just where I am, and just like I am. And so I know that some of you all have felt the same way. And it's all good when you repeat over and over to your friends. When you tell the same stories over and over to your friends and your family. And sometimes they look like they want to run away. Or the telephone calls may get less and less. And instead of picking the phone up, calling you, they text you. Hey, how you doing? Because they know you're not going to text all of that to them. They know you're not going to text your life story to them. So rather than picking up the phone and calling you, because they know you're going to go all the way back with all of this, they text you. Hey, how you doing? Just checking on you. I have them to do that to me. But you know, I appreciate them texting me to check on me, to see how I'm doing. I appreciate that. Because I probably worn them out. With my stories over and over. Especially these young folk. You know, they like, oh my, there she go again. Oh, grandma, oof. Do you have anything else to talk about? Well, yes, I do have other things to talk about, but sometimes I get in that space of my life, the time. Sometimes I get in that time frame, of my life that I do those things, and I talk about it. You know, it's not like I don't have a present. It's not like I don't do things. It's not like I sit around the house, but sometimes I do the same thing. Repeat. Come on, friends. I may not have brought the right words to you trying to explain this, but you know what I'm saying. Because you probably have relatives who do the same thing. And sometimes you might be hesitant to call those relatives because you thinking, oh man, they're going to talk about the same thing over and over. They're going to wear me out. Because I have relatives that do that. But you know what? I do it too. So when I get that text message or that email, hey, auntie, how you doing? It's all right. But here's the thing, friends. We're still here. We got a lot to offer the world. And as long as we're still here, we got more memories to make. Now, probably not as many as we've already made. But certainly more memories to make and talk about. So it's all good. You know, it's all good when I'm talking to somebody and they say, you know what, I got an appointment. I'm going to have to get out of here. Or they say, you know, I think my other phone is ringing. Or they say, you know, I think somebody's at the door. Or they say, you know, and see Charlie hear me laugh, you hear him barking. Or they say, I've got to take the dog out. Because you've worn them out with your stories over and over and over again. that are important to you, but not necessarily important to them. So let's just be mindful of that. Be compassionate. Be understanding. Try not to avoid people because of that. Be there for them, because it may come a day now that you'll wish you could hear those stories over and over and over again. So I love you guys. I want you to have a safe day. Enjoy yourselves. And when I repeat over and over and over again, because I will, give me a little grace. Show a little compassion. Because on these videos, you're going to see some of that. Because I'm a senior. I'm older. And I have a lot of 77-year-old memories. And I probably tell them over and over and over again. So I love you guys. Have a great day. Be blessed.